Hello, I'm William Stewart.
And I'm Henry Thuss. Welcome to Fast Five, produced by the Indiana University Media School.
Start your timers.
One sec, buddy. You're in all black today. What's going on?
Well, there's two options. I might be cosplaying Joe Black, if you're familiar with the movie, or I'm going to Ohio State's funeral in Columbus on Saturday. The choice is yours, Henry.
Let's rock and roll. Oh, yeah.
Now start your timers because our 5 minutes have begun. And the biggest news in Bloomington is about the biggest contract in the school's history. It's 8 years, $8 million a year, an extra $1 million a year as a retention bonus. Curt Cignetti is now making more than anybody in the university's history. The contract runs through 2032. Originally, he was signed through 2029 at $4.5 million a year. It's quite the raise for the 62-year-old Yinzer, who's caused what he says is the emerging superpower in college football, and that emerging superpower is sitting at number 5 in the country overall in the Week 13 AP poll at a perfect 10-0 record. And the Hoosiers will be put to the test on Saturday when they kick off against that number 2 team in the country, the Ohio State Buckeyes. Kickoff is at noon from Columbus, Ohio, and the game will be broadcasted on Fox.
The Indiana men's basketball team had their biggest test of the regular season so far with the University of South Carolina in Assembly Hall. Our Ethan Benefill has the recap.
Thank you, guys. The Indiana Hoosiers took on the South Carolina Gamecocks here at Assembly Hall on Saturday. The Hoosiers started off slow, trailing 4-0 before finally scoring their first points 2.5 minutes into the game. From there, the Hoosiers went on a 17-1 run to make it a 17-5 ballgame. However, basketball is a game of runs, and the Gamecocks were able to cut down the lead to 4. Indiana kept it close throughout the first half before finally getting to a 43-32 halftime lead. Standout players Miles Rice and Mackenzie Bacco had efficient first halves. Miles Rice added 17 points on 6 of 7 shooting, and Bacco added 12 points on 4 of 6 shooting. The Hoosiers looked to close out the game in the second half. However, they were unable to do that as the South Carolina Gamecocks kept it within 15 for the rest of the half.
We went up 15 points. From that point on, we didn't play very well from an offensive standpoint. Our defense was still solid, but I just got to help us get better.
The Hoosiers saw efficient basketball, 51% from the field, with 5 different players reaching the double-digit scoring mark. The Hoosiers look to build off this momentum on Thursday as they face UNC Greensboro. Thank you, guys. Back to the studio.
Thanks, Ethan. After the 87-71 victory, the Hoosiers look to stay hot as they take on the UNC Greensboro Spartans. This Thursday in Bloomington, that game will tip off at 6:30 and can be watched on FS1.
And now for the very first time ever, we're going to go over to the wall for Heartland Henry's Picks of the Week.
Thanks, Will. We just had a crazy weekend of college football. BYU lost their first game of the season. Oregon was taken to the wire by Wisconsin, and Georgia kept their college football playoff hopes alive with a huge win over Tennessee. We have another incredible week upon us, and I'm here to give us a little insight into what we can expect. First up, we have a huge matchup in Yankee Stadium between Army and Notre Dame. I expect the Fighting Irish to treat the Black Knights like they did to their naval counterparts. Give me the Irish 31-7. Up next is the Colorado Buffaloes, one of the hottest teams in college football, having not lost a game since October 12th. I'm picking Colorado to continue their march to the Big 12 championship game with a win over Kansas 30-20. Finally, it's the marquee matchup that every Indiana Hoosier has been waiting for. It's the trip to Ohio State. The Buckeyes are heavily favored on their home turf against Indiana and look to knock off the number 5 team in the country. This is a top 5 matchup that all of America will be watching. Give me the Hoosiers 30-27 on a game-winning field goal in the shoe. And those are the Heartland Picks of the Week. I'll be back after Thanksgiving for Championship Saturday picks.
That was gorgeous, Henry. Thank you. That was not gambling advice, by the way. And after losing 2 straight games against Harvard and Butler, the Indiana women's basketball team was hungry for a win. Their opponent, the number 24 ranked team in the country, the Stanford Cardinals. Right off the bat, Indiana guards Chloe Moore McNeil and Yarden Garzone would get things going from behind the three-point line in Assembly Hall. Then a shifty Shea Shesky would extend the lead to 14 before Indiana would go into the half up 11. In the second half, Moore McNeil would pick up right where she left off, adding that 2 to her team high of 22. However, Stanford forward Brooke Demetra would not let Indiana off the hook. She would cash in 2 tough buckets of her own, but ultimately it wasn't enough to help the Cardinals. Indiana stayed on top, winning 79-66. The Hoosiers will travel down to the Bahamas as they look to face Columbia in the first round of the Battle for Atlantis tournament. That game will take place on November 23rd, and tip-off will be at 4 p.m. Eastern.
Just like that, our 5 minutes are up. I'm Henry Thuss.
And I'm William Stewart. Make sure to catch us on Wednesday for a preview of all your Hoosier sports. Thank you for joining us, and God bless.